All right, so I'm going to keep this very brief because I'm sure you don't want to hear me talk for very long, but I just wanted to share with you guys some insights I gained from doing this social class experiment. And yes, I have like a little written thing, so that's what I'm looking at. But I chose to go through the process of applying for food stamps, and I also ended up researching WIC as well, because since they're both government assistance programs, they tend to go hand in hand. So on Monday, I went to jobs.utah.gov, which is how you apply for government assistance in Utah. And while I was navigating around this website, I found that this is actually a terrific source for getting aid in an economic crisis or difficult time, not just if you're below the poverty line. So, little fun fact. But applying for food stamps was an interesting experience and definitely a surprising one for me. The process itself is really self-explanatory and very, very easy. However, I was surprised by how much bias I have towards people that apply for federal aid, and yet I technically qualified to be able to get assistance according to the figures on the Utah website. In fact, during the recession, my upper middle class family actually received government assistance in the form of unemployment benefits. And while these are not the same thing, they're similar, and I was shocked that I had misjudged people all this time for using something that I had also used in another form. Food stamps and other federal aid is designed to help get a person out of situational poverty. WIC and food stamps are not permanent solutions, they're rather a ladder that is trying to diminish wealth inequality. This assignment opened my eyes once again to the fact that I'm not immune to biases, no matter what I say and how close my core beliefs of not judging are to my heart. After this social class experiment, I firmly believe what Dr. Kutri has taught about this idea of a locked door in our brains that hides these judgments and preconceived notions, because it's just getting cracked wide open with all these things that we do. Before I actually went through the process myself, I always thought of food stamps and WIC as being this like obscure thing that people in the ghettos use. And that sounds so terrible, but that was true. And that no one I knew could ever use them. However, I learned as I was doing this experiment through investigating and asking my family questions that my own grandmother was actually on food stamps when she lost her job and was trying to make ends meet. So these programs are more prevalent in our lives than we realize. We may not use them, but our loved ones or our friends or our students one day will be using them. And I'm grateful that government assistance is there, not for people to be dependent on it, but to help them in times of need. So many different students, like I said, will walk through my classroom one day, and some may very well be receiving government assistance, and I can't treat them differently because they do. I have to help them and reinforce that socioeconomic status is only one measure of life. And everyone hits hard times, but those are the macro factors that they can't control. As an educator, it's so important that I try to provide them with opportunities to develop their micro factors where they are in life at that moment. These ideas are what I learned from doing this inquiry. It was, like I said, a really, really eye-opening experience. So I guess my question for you guys is, how are you affected by federal assistance, whether directly or indirectly? Like I said, I found so many examples in my life of how it was just there, and I didn't even realize it, just right in front of your nose that you become blind to it. So how do these connections, these direct or indirect connections, prepare you to be a better educator, and how can you overcome those biases now? And yep, that's it. Thanks, guys.